Hi everyone, back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with another Rumour Has It video where we talk about players linked to the football club this summer, and it's going to be a mental window. The silly season has already started with one of our players coming, players leaving, and we've got two England internationals here in the Rumour Has It. One for a winger and one for a striker. Well, the winger can play as a striker as well, but for me, it's a definite 100% yes on one and a no on the other. We're going to get stuck right into this in a minute, talk about the players, talk about the story, talk about how we think they'll fit into Newcastle, how they won't fit into Newcastle. Just before we do, a little reminder, as we always say, if you haven't already, smash subscribe. We'd love you to come and join us. We're over 7,600 subs, so we're closing in on 8,000 subs, hopefully by the start of next season, which would be amazing. So thanks to you amazing people who've clicked that button already, but there's way more room for the rest of you if you haven't. Smash that button. It's all free content, never more. If you want to give a bit back to the channel, there is a member option down there, and you get early access to videos just like the one you're about to watch. So who am I talking about? Who am I waffling about? Well, there's two players here. And there's one for a winger and one for a striker. And let's get into the winger first, because this is a player I really, really like. And it's this lad right here, Jarrod Bowen, who's in the England 30-man squad for the European Championships. And this kid is a real player. Now, if you didn't know already, Newcastle were nailed on to sign Jarrod Bowen when he was at Hull for 20 million quid, and Mike Ashley wouldn't pay the bill. Thanks for that, Mike, you fucking knob. He could have been our player, but mind you, in the pre-takeover era, he probably would have been sold to Liverpool or Man United or Arsenal or somebody else for big money by now, and he wouldn't be our player anymore. So, you know, c'est la vie. That's what it is. But this is in the article from Luke Edwards. Yes, that's right. Steve Bruce's #1 fan. And he's talking about these two players, and they're very much being talked about in the corridors of Newcastle United, apparently. Now, whether you believe that or not, we don't know. We don't know who's genuine. We don't know who's not. We don't know who's a good source, who's a bad source. You know, I personally like tomato sauce and barbecue sauce. But whatever sauce you like, let me know in the comments below. But there's loads of sources going around, you know, loads of bullshit, ITKs. But normally when the journalists get a hold of it, you think it has some kind of commodity of truth, you know, and viability within it, because why would they, you know, write a piece about it if there wasn't that element in it, really? But Jarrod Bowen is a name that's been on the lips of Newcastle United's hierarchy for some time, and he has been brilliant for West Ham. You can see there from the stats, 201 appearances, 59 goals, 38 assists, all in total for West Ham. You know, 54 goals and 131 appearances for Hull and 12 assists. He's been a really, really good player. You can see last season, just gone 34 Premier League appearances, 16 goals and 6 assists, and a goal in Europa League and 4 assists as well. He's in the England squad now. He's got 7 caps, so that'll only grow in the tournament this summer. And I really like the player. You know, not only is he skillful, he takes up great positions. He's got good close control. He's a goal scorer as well. He can score goals. He can create goals, and he grafts his arse off as well. You can see from the statistics there, looking at the red, amber, greens, his goals, he's right up there in the high kind of 80s, low 90 percentiles. XGs, he's right up there in the mid 80s as well. You know, goals to shot ratio, he's up in the high 90s. Shots, he's up in the 74. Shots on target, he's up in the 80s and the 90s. Assists, he's in the 74th percentile. Expected assists is a little bit below half in terms of that. Shot creation chances a little bit further down as well. Some of the reds, pass completion and key passes not particularly great. West Ham have had a very up and down season this season, so I suppose these stats could be a little bit misconstrued. You know, if you had better players around him, no disrespect to West Ham, maybe those stats would be improved in terms of that. Touches in the area, 74 percentile. Carries in the area is quite high as well, but progressive carries are a little bit low. So Jarrod Bowen really does his work, I would say, the business end of the pitch, but he does work hard and he does press from the front. I think he would massively suit our playing style. So 27 years old, he won't come cheap. You can see his contract expires in 2030 there, and you know, he's massively adored by West Ham. Yes, West Ham are going to have a new manager in the summer with David Moyes moving on, and you know, there'll be a new manager there. Is it Lipaniego? I think it is. I'm trying to remember the pronunciation. Mark's better at this than me, but you know who I mean. The guy who was at Wolves. So he's coming in. Obviously, there's big news about Paqueta potentially could be, you know, banned from, you know, playing because of betting scandals that could end his whole career. So I don't think West Ham would be too keen to sell Jarrod Bowen, but money talks and bullshit walks. Now, a bid for Jarrod Bowen is going to have to be up in the region of 60 million quid. Now, that's a similar figure to Michael Olise, who's obviously about 5 years younger than Jarrod Bowen, you know, but Jarrod Bowen is a real proper player. You know, 120 grand a week wage. Newcastle could easily afford that. And it's whether the player wants the move, and it's how much we want the player to be there. You can see how he compares next to Miggy Almiron on the right-hand side, because that's where Jarrod Bowen would come in on that right wing, where we need a massive insert of quality. Now, Jarrod Bowen is your starting right winger, and maybe Minter and Murphy is backup. That is fucking quality for me. That really is. That gives us something there that we haven't had all season. That's, you know, domestically and in European football as well. And Jarrod Bowen's got European football experience because he's played there with West Ham and he's playing there with England now as well. So I think this would be an unbelievable signing. 60 million quid might sound steep, but for a 27-year-old player at the peak of his powers, I think it'd be money well spent. But let us know in the comments below if you'd rather have somebody other than Jarrod Bowen. But for me, the lad would bring, you know, quality, skill, pace, movement, goals and assists to this squad. So for me, it's an absolute no-brainer in terms of Jarrod Bowen. That is a player I would love to have at Newcastle United. But there is other options there. We are looking at this right wing option. Elise is there, Neto's there, but he has his injury concerns. Maybe we'll look across Europe or something like that. You don't know. There might be a player that springs out of the Euros that catches everybody's eyes. Who knows? Scouts are all over the world. But if Jarrod Bowen is the man for our right wing, I will be a very, very happy Newcastle fan next season. Now, there is another player linked to us in this piece by Luke Edwards, and I'm not too sure on this one, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. But there was a player here once upon a time, but this is the lad I'm talking about, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Now, Dominic Calvert-Lewin once upon a time was the real deal. You know, big, you know, the next striker kind of coming through, you know, strong, good in the air, a goal scorer, bit of pace, could turn a defender. And then injuries kind of took that toll on him. I mean, that's the biggest worry with Calvert-Lewin is the injuries. He's been in and out of that Everton team this season, but looking at his injuries in the games that he's missed there. So kind of going back to, I suppose, 2021, 2022 season, he broke his toe and he was out for 125 days. So collectively between England and Everton, he missed 32 games. You know, beyond that, he's had little niggly injuries. You know, he's got the knee injury that he had in 2022, 2023 season. He missed, it was 46 days, 8 games in total. Then it had a hamstring injury after that. You know, I think that was in September. Then in March, he had a hamstring injury. He missed 6 games. And he had another hamstring injury, and he missed 3 games. And he had a broken cheekbone this season, and he missed 4 games, which was 25 days worth of football. But he's been in and out. His form hasn't been great. He seems to have lacked that, you know, that kind of, you know, bit of something about him, really, that he had a few years ago. He really seems to have regressed as a player, and I'm not sure this is really a smart move for Newcastle United. The only caveat with this one would be you probably get him for maybe around about, you know, 18 to 20 million, as it says on transfer market value there, because his contract runs out in June next year. So maybe if you're not going to sign a new contract, you might get him for quite a knockdown price. And Everton need the money as well because they've got their financial struggles. You can see there totally in his career, you know, with Everton, over 243 games, 67 goals and 17 assists. So his numbers aren't too bad really in that regard. You know, obviously he'd been a couple of loan periods there as well. But last season, 32 appearances, all in all, didn't start a lot of games, I don't think. 7 goals and 2 assists, you know, 71 shots and 28 of them on target. So his shot conversion was really, really low. You can see that in the 9th percentile. You know, and that kind of reflects in the stats as well. Goals are down. XGs are high because he gets in good positions, you know, and he has got a track record, previously been a good striker, but it seems to have kind of, left him. His powers have waned, so to speak, you know. Maybe it's because he's not dressing up like Britney Spears in his spare time anymore. Hey, each to their own, Dominic, each to their own, pal. If you sign for us and scored goals, you can wear a tutu if you want, me. I don't give a fuck. But, you know, that distraction, I think, puts fans off Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well. Those kind of things in the past, the modelling and all that bollocks. You just want him to do the job on the pitch. And he's not doing the job on the pitch right now. And I think that's why I wouldn't go anywhere near him. I think there's probably better strikers you could sign. The stats are there as well in terms of there is potential there. We know Eddie Howe's got a great track record of getting players back on track. You know, players who maybe lost their way a little bit. You know, Joe Linton's a prime example. Couldn't kick his own arse a few years ago. Now he kicks everybody else's arse as a midfield enforcer. Miguel Almiron, you know, Eddie got him to, you know, the best goal return he's ever had in his whole career, probably ever will have in his whole career. Jacob Murphy's made a better player. Sean Longstaff, he made look better. You know, the list goes on. Emil Kraft as well. So maybe Eddie could work that Howe magic on Dominic Calvert-Lewin and get him back to that level that he was at. But I'm just not sure. I think the injuries have taken a toll, and I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin has lost a bit of that hunger to be that player. You know, maybe a move would be good for him, and he might recapture that form. 11 caps for England and 4 goals, but again, they're probably against a bunch of fishermen from Azerbaijan or something like that. So I'm not going to take that into account too much. But I'm not too sure on this one, guys, to be brutally honest with you. there is some promising stats there that, you know, if he was in maybe a better team or a team that wasn't fighting relegation or had better players around him, like say Bruno, you know, Gordon to kind of give him the ball. But he had Gordon at Everton as well. We scored more goals back then. But I'm just not entirely convinced about this one personally. I would rather stay clear of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I'm not sure he would be the right man to come in. If you're going to sell Callum Wilson, which is what the talk is, Callum Wilson, Nick Pope even has come out in the wash now. He may be a player who's leaving. There's loads and loads of links to Mamardashvili, who have covered before. We'll cover him again pretty soon. So there's a lot of talk about players having to leave to free up budget to sign new players. And it might very well be the club might be getting to that stage where they get a little bit ruthless and they're looking at players in their 30s who've had injury problems and think, can we bring a kid in who's, you know, 7, 8 years younger than him, and he has a lot longer, you know, in terms of the longevity at Newcastle, and he can develop. You know, Mamardashvili looks a great player now as a keeper, you know, and if he just gets better and better, his value increases as well, you know, so there is an element of that, you know, to be played as well. But Nick Pope, to me, you know, deserves a chance to be #1 next season. He's had really unlucky injury season. The season before that, he was absolutely magnificent for Newcastle. So I would love to see Nick Pope still at the club next season, and I hope that is the case. And, you know, maybe have Mamardashvili learn it off him if he does come in, you know, and then kind of slowly bleed his way into being #1, unless he's fucking amazing from day one, then he's in straight away, isn't he? But let us know in the comments below what you guys think about Jarrod Bowen and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I'm not really sure this story carries a lot of weight. The Bowen one I'd love to happen, but I just can't see West Ham selling him if they're going to lose Paqueta as well, because the word is Paqueta was going to go to Man City for 85 million. Now the worry is, are they going to go look to Paqueta's Brazilian buddy, you know who I'm talking about, he wears a magic hat and he plays for us in the shape of Bruno Guimaraes. That's a big concern from a transfer point of view. But there'll be loads of people to talk about, loads of players linked in the summer. Make sure you keep it evermore, guys. Smash subscribe, come and join us, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of these transfer videos. It's all free content, but if you do want to be a member, get a little bit earlier access to it because you just want to get ahead of the game, smash that button down there. Pick whichever option suits you best. Like the video, help the channel grow. We'll be back with loads more transfer banner soon. Make sure you check me and Mark out. We're going to be rating the squad, going through the goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, and attackers, giving them marks out of 10, telling you if we would keep them or sell them. Make sure you check that out, guys. That'll be out very, very soon in this kind of closed season content before the Euros kick off. Keep it evermore, everybody. Have a cracking day. We'll see you later. Cheers.